Power isn't always taken by force. It doesn't always arrive with fiery speeches, raging wars, or dramatic gestures. Real power is often built quietly, in the gaps between words, in pauses that make people uncomfortable, and in silences that reveal more than any grand statement ever could. Look around. The world today is absolutely drowning in noise. Everyone is talking, tweeting, arguing, and fighting to be heard. It feels like a constant battle of voices, each person trying to outshout the next. But here's the twisting in this noisy chaos. The ones who stay silent actually hold the real power. Their silence becomes a mystery, an open space that other people rush to fill, often revealing more about themselves than they realize, sometimes even to their own disadvantage. Niccolò Machiavelli, one of history's most brilliant political minds, understood this better than anyone. He knew that the most dangerous person in any room isn't the one making the most noise. It's the one who stays quiet and listens. In his writings, Machiavelli came back to this idea, and again, the strategic value of restraint, the importance of only speaking when absolutely necessary, and the art of learning everything while revealing nothing. If you can control your words, you can control your fate. On the other hand, if you can't stand silence, you're giving up your power before you even know it. Silence has always been the language of kings and conquerors. Think about some of the most formidable leaders, generals, and tacticians in history. They weren't the ones talking the loudest. They were the ones who knew exactly when to say nothing at all. Julius Caesar, for example, kept his intentions hidden before crossing the Rubicon, keeping Rome guessing. When he finally made his move, his enemies were completely caught off guard. Napoleon Bonaparte was a master at using silence during negotiations. He'd just sit back and let his opponents talk themselves into revealing their weaknesses before he said a word. During the Russian Revolution, Vladimir Lenin stayed silent for months, letting his enemies wear themselves out with endless debates. And when he finally spoke, his words turned the tide of history. Silence isn't inaction, it's a strategy. When you use silence well, you force your enemies to reveal their plans, their fears, and their weak spots. Imagine a room full of people talking while one person just listens. That person becomes a mirror. Everyone else projects their own assumptions, anxieties, and mistakes onto him. Meanwhile, he quietly soaks up every detail, learning exactly where to strike if he needs to. There's actually a kind of foolishness in speaking too much. In The Prince, Machiavelli warned rulers of never say more than you have to. Every word you speak can be turned into a weapon against you. The moment you reveal your true thoughts, you become predictable. The more you explain yourself, the more you give other people the tools they need to manipulate you. Why do people talk so much anyway? It's usually because they're scared of the silence. They're scared of what people might assume if they don't fill every gap with words. But that's exactly where real power comes from. The ability to sit with the discomfort, to watch while others scramble to fill the silence, and to remain calm, steady, and unreadable. Just think about how often people ruin things for themselves by talking too much. There's the politician who tries too hard to please everyone, explaining every little detail, and ends up pleasing no one. Or the negotiator who reveals his bottom line long before the other side makes an offer. Or the social climber who overshares, giving others the perfect ammunition to use against him. Machiavelli understood that most people simply can't handle silence. They feel compelled to break it, to explain, to justify, to speak first. But the ones who can resist that urge, they always end up with the upper hand. Silence isn't just a weapon in politics, it's crucial in strategy, war, negotiation, and survival. In The Art of War, Machiavelli argued that the best military strategies are those kept hidden until the very last moment. This idea applies just as much to words as it does to armies. If you speak too soon, it's like deploying your troops before you're ready. You give away your intentions, and you lose the element of surprise. In war, the general who keeps his plans a secret forces his enemies to guess, to overprepare, to hesitate. In politics, the leader who remains silent makes rivals nervous. They start to speculate, to make mistakes based on half-truths and assumptions. Even in ordinary life, the person who keeps their cards close to their chest always has the advantage over those who can't stop talking. Silence is a matter of timing and patience. It's about waiting for the perfect moment to act. When success is already within your grasp, there's also a deep psychological power to silence. Human nature hasn't changed since Machiavelli's time. People are still drawn to mystery. We're still unsettled by things we can't understand. When someone in a group discussion stays quiet, everyone else starts to fill in the blanks. He must know something we don't, or she must be really confident if she doesn't feel the need to speak. People start to wonder, why isn't he saying anything? What's going on in her head? That psychological effect gives the silent strategist instant power. even before they've said a single word. In today's world, the urge to talk can be overwhelming. With social media, 24-hour news cycles, and the constant need to share our thoughts, we live in an age of endless oversharing. And yet, while so many people are desperate to fill every silence with their voice, there's an old and powerful truth that most have forgotten: silence is not weakness. In fact, as Machiavelli knew, silence is one of the most effective tools for wielding power. If you're finding this interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives and epic teachings about life. Let's dive deeper into how silence is more than just the absence of words. It's actually a powerful form of control. Machiavelli's work, especially The Prince, gives us timeless advice on how to handle power dynamics, not only in politics but in everyday situations. One of his big ideas is control of information, of perception, and, most importantly, control over your own speech. When you get caught up in the urge to talk, you're actually giving away information, often more than you realize. Every nervous laugh, every a fond comment, every unnecessary explanation reveals something about you: your insecurities, your emotions, your intentions. And once those words are out there, you can't take them back. Think about it. How many times have you said something you later wished you hadn't? Maybe you let slip a weakness, or you made a promise you couldn't keep. These little slips can be costly, especially when you're dealing with people who pay attention. And trust me, in politics, negotiation, or any competitive field, there's always someone listening closely. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He believed the person who knows more than they reveal always has the upper hand, whether they're in a negotiation, a conflict, or just navigating daily life. The moment you reveal everything you know, you give up your advantage. For Machiavelli, this wasn't just a clever strategy. It was essential if you wanted to maintain and grow your power. He even gives us a classic example. Imagine a ruler-leader who's too open, too transparent. At first, maybe people appreciate the honesty, but quickly that openness robs the leader of the mystique that earns respect. Once everyone knows all your secrets and strategies, your enemies can plot against you far more effectively. The ability to hold back, to speak only when it serves a purpose, keeps you one step ahead. But don't get it twisted. Machiavelli never said you should never speak. He didn't mean you should just sit there in complete silence, refusing to talk to anyone. The true master of power knows when to speak, and just as importantly, when to keep quiet. There are times when the right words, said at just the right time, can have maximum impact. And there are moments when saying nothing at all is far more powerful than any speech you could give. This is about picking your moments, about being intentional with your words. For example, think about a leader who rarely speaks. When they do, people listen, because they know those words have been chosen carefully. That kind of silence reads as thoughtfulness, caution, and control. It's not just about hiding information, it's about shaping how others perceive you. You can use this tactic to mislead your opponents, inspire your followers, seal a deal, or give the illusion of openness while actually revealing nothing important. On the other hand, there's the person who can't stand silence. They talk because they feel awkward, or because they need validation. But in trying to fill the silence, they lose control of the conversation, of other people's perceptions, and ultimately of their own power. As Machiavelli would say, their impulsive speech chips away at their authority and puts them at a disadvantage. Let's get practical. If you want to use silence as a tool, you have to get comfortable with the discomfort that comes with it. Most people rush to fill every pause because they're worried about what others will think. But if you can sit with that tension, you'll notice something interesting. People start revealing more about themselves. They'll project their own thoughts, fears, and insecurities onto you. They might even start negotiating against themselves just to fill the space. All you have to do is wait. Information is power, and silence is one of the best ways to keep control of what information is available to others. Machiavelli understood that controlling information isn't just about keeping secrets. It's about managing what other people know about you and your intentions. If your rivals aren't sure what you're thinking, they have to guess. That uncertainty leads to hesitation, and hesitation leads to mistakes. This principle is true whether you're leading an army, managing a team, or just navigating your social life. If you reveal too much, you become predictable. If you hold back, you keep people off balance. And in that uncertainty, you find your advantage. Machiavelli often stressed that power isn't just about domination or force. It's also about perception. Think about Icare. A person who talks non-stop gives everyone around them endless chances to form negative opinions or to twist their words. But the person who chooses their words carefully and knows when to stay silent controls the narrative. They decide what people know and what they don't. A great example of this strategy is the enigmatic ruler, the leader who speaks only when it's absolutely necessary. When they do speak, their words carry weight. People pay attention, not because of the quantity, but because every word matters. They don't need to fill every moment with noise. In fact, their silence only adds to their power. The less you say, the more people wonder. The more people wonder, the more they respect, and even fear, you. This isn't just about manipulating others. It's about protecting yourself. When you don't reveal your thoughts and plans, you make it much harder for anyone to use your words against you. You stay unpredictable, and that unpredictability is a huge advantage. Let's be honest though, using silence effectively isn't easy. It takes practice. It means resisting the urge to jump in and explain yourself, to defend every little thing or to fill every awkward pause. It means learning to be okay with not always being understood right away, or with people making assumptions. But if you can master this, you'll find that people start coming to you, trying to win your approval, trying to figure you out. That's when you know you're really in control. Machiavelli's teachings on power and information control are as relevant now as they were centuries ago. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, the ones who hold back, who master the art of silence, stand out. They become the ones to watch, the ones others can't quite figure out, the ones who always seem to be a step ahead. So, next time you're tempted to fill the silence, remember silence isn't emptiness. It's strategy, it's control, and it might just be your greatest source of power. Let's wrap this up by talking about how you can actually use silence to your advantage, both in your personal life and your professional journey. This isn't just abstract, old-school political theory. It's a real-world tactic you can start applying today. First, think about your own conversations. How often do you jump in to explain yourself? How quickly do you try to fill awkward pauses? Most people can't stand the discomfort of silence. We're wired to want immediate feedback, instant validation, and quick answers. But here's the thing, by embracing silence, you can flip the script and totally change the dynamic. Let's say you're in a negotiation. The first person to speak after an offer is made usually loses ground. It's almost a universal law. When you make a proposal and then go quiet, the other side feels pressure to fill the silence. They might reveal their own hand, start negotiating against themselves, or even up their offer without you saying a word. You gain leverage simply by resisting the urge to talk. This same principle applies in interviews, meetings, or even social situations. If someone asks you a tough question, don't rush into an answer. Pause. Take a breath. Let the silence linger just a bit longer than feels comfortable. 9 times out of 10, the other person will start talking again, often giving you more information or softening their position. Machiavelli would say that this isn't just about holding your tongue, it's about strategic restraint. You're not just keeping secrets, you're actively shaping the environment around you. Your silence makes people curious. It unsettles them, pushes them to reveal more than they planned, and gives you a clearer view of what's really going on. But let's be clear, silence isn't about being cold or withdrawn. It's about being intentional. It means you speak when it matters, and you let your words really count. That's why the most powerful people in any room are often the ones speaking the least, but saying the most when they do. Think about legendary business leaders, top negotiators, or even respected friends and mentors. The ones who have real presence are those who don't waste words. Their silence makes people lean in, pay attention, and wait for what's coming next. They control the pace and direction of the conversation, all without raising their voice or dominating the room. There's also a protective benefit to this approach. When you're silent, people can't easily pin you down. They can't predict your next move, and they can't use your words against you. If you're always talking, you're always giving people ammunition, something they can twist, misinterpret, or remember later when it's inconvenient for you. But if you're careful and deliberate, you stay in control. This is especially important in today's world, where everything you say can be recorded, screenshotted, or shared online in an instant. Oversharing isn't just risky, it's dangerous. The more you reveal, the less power you have. The less you say, the more control you keep. So how do you start using this in your own life? Here are a few simple strategies. Pause before you answer. When someone asks for your opinion or puts you on the spot, take a couple of seconds before you respond. You'll come across as thoughtful, and you'll often hear more than if you jumped right in. Listen more than you speak. The quiet observer always learns the most. People love to talk about themselves. Let them. You'll pick up valuable insights just by paying attention. Be comfortable with awkward silences. Most people can't handle them, but if you get used to the feeling, you'll have a powerful edge in conversations and negotiations. Don't reveal everything. You don't have to share your plans, your struggles, or your next move with everyone. Hold some things back. Let people wonder. Speak with intention. When you do talk, make it count. Don't ramble or over-explain. State your point clearly, then let it hang in the air. Over time, you'll notice that people start to treat you differently. They'll listen more closely, value your words more highly, and often come to you for advice or insight. Your silence becomes part of your reputation, a sign of confidence, self-control, and yes, real power. Machiavelli's wisdom is just as useful today as it was in Renaissance Italy. In a world where everyone is fighting to be heard, the person who masters the art of silence stands out. They become the one others look to, the one who seems to always know more than they say, the one who never reveals too much, and always keeps the upper hand. So, next time you're tempted to fill the air with words, remember silence is your secret weapon. It's not about hiding or being passive. It's about being strategic, intentional, and in control.
Thanks for watching.
If you found this helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the strategies of history's greatest minds, and how you can use them to level up your own life. See you in the next one.